What's up, Cowboys Culture Podcast? Welcome to another Victory Monday, man. We're excited to be back with you guys. Doing another episode, talking about some interesting stuff. We got a lot of stuff ready, so we'll get into it with our sponsor.
360 Roofing and Restoration, best roofing company in the Metroplex, commercial and residential. Give them a shout.
Awesome. Yeah, so we kind of wanted to get into really quickly some of the recent news, i.e. or mainly injuries. Jacob, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so, so far what I've heard coming out of the team from this yesterday's game was that we have two injuries of note. Number one, we got Zach Martin. They're saying he's got a bruised quad. They didn't really give it any timetable or level of severity on that. So we got to be having our fingers crossed on that one that he's ready to go because we're going to need him next week. Also, there's talking about Rico. They're saying he came out of the game yesterday with a hip injury. They got him a X-ray. X-rays came back negative, so they're saying, no fractures or anything like that. But the last that I saw, they were waiting on some MRI results on that hip. So, with the hips, those can be a little bit weird. You never really know. I wouldn't necessarily expect him unless it's super minor. But overall, that's kind of what we have.
Who do you bring in for that? Do you bring Malik off the P squad or what?
Yeah, I think you bring in Malik, or you're gonna have to rely on Hunter a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't know if Hunter. Well, yeah.
I don't know if he's not ready.
Yeah, he played fine. He scored.
He has played really good, not just this game. But anyway, I'm really wanting Zach Martin.
Zach has to play.
He has to play, and I just want finally having a fully if our O-line is playing out there completely, fully, everybody's out there, we have probably one of the best O-lines in the NFL. It is extremely good. Tyler Smith is unbelievable. We need Zach Martin out there for this. This is a huge game coming up this week. But just to kind of, I just kind of want to hop into what we thought about the Patriots game. What's your takeaways? Let's break it down.
Yeah, we played a game this week. My overall takeaway is nothing. Didn't learn anything. The defense is still out of control, amazing.
Yeah. Deron Bland showed
best.
He just needed more than a day and a half.
Yeah, Trayvon still sorely missed. Will always be sorely missed. Bland sees no issue with just taking over there. But I'm being serious when I say I didn't learn a ton. Because we do this thing where we're like, what did we learn?
Right.
I learned that we're still the same team that destroyed the New York Giants. We're still the same team that destroyed the New York Jets. And now we're the team that has destroyed Bill Belichick worse than he has ever experienced in his NFL career. So what did I learn? I learned that, again, not a ton. We're still the best, in my opinion, we're still the best defense in the NFL. I learned that the offense is still going to be fine.
Yeah.
Those red zone issues, we have a ton of theories as to why that's been. But if you're asking me what I learned, I haven't learned much because those still exist.
So you're still worried about the red zone?
Oh, I think I haven't been worried until now, and I wouldn't say I'm worried. But what I'll say is okay, it just keeps, just for whatever reason, it keeps happening. And it seems like each trip down there has its own story, right? Mm-hmm. There's not like this one thing you can point to and say oh, it's because we have a false start issue. That's not the case.
Yeah,
we have a miscommunication issue. No, that's just one of the things that happen.
Yeah, it's something that it's been happening a lot, and it is an issue, but it doesn't seem like you can, like you said, you can pinpoint any reason why it is happening. It almost seems kind of fluky because our offense just destroys the team all for 80 yards or whatever, however much, 70 yards, and then all of a sudden it's like we get into that 20 and it's like, we'll get on the 1 yard line. Who was it? Ferg got us on the 1 yard line that one play, or 2 yard line, and we just couldn't figure it out. First and goal, couldn't punch it in.
But what I'll just kind of wrap up with this on my little take of this week. Once again, we're told, this is good defense. This is a Dak defeating, because Dak sucks, and this is a Dak defeating defense. This is a good defense. They can get after the pass rusher, and they did. They got to Dak. They got home a few times. Good defenses will do that. Doesn't matter what offensive line's out there. It's so funny that after this game, it was, the Patriots are going through a situation where they don't know if Mac is the future and everything. It's like, well, for 3 years they've told me he was.
Well, they haven't said that the past 2 weeks. The past 3 weeks, they've been talking about. Go watch it for the first game versus the Eagles. He almost beat them. Bill
Belichick said after the game, he's like, it was a blowout. You sit the guy. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
He's my starter.
Anything to not give us credit.
Right. So as to where Belichick actually, I feel like in a roundabout way, I don't think he was directly giving the Cowboys credit, but I think in a roundabout way, he was like, we're getting our butts stomped. I'm not leaving him out there. I need him.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just kind of talk about really quickly because we got some more important things to talk about, I think, than this game that kind of, like Steven said, didn't really show a bunch. It showed us I've heard a lot of talks like, oh, game 4 and game 5, that's week 4 and week 5, that's when you learn what a team really is. Well, I've learned that we are the team that destroyed 2 teams in a row because we did it again this week. 3 games, we've dominated 3 teams that have insane defenses that are Dak defeating, and Dak overcame that adversity and didn't make any mistakes and blew out teams worse than any other team has blown out any team this season. And Bill Belichick ever. And I think that's a huge statement, and I think that our defense is getting back into shape after not having one of their best players on their defense for longer than a day and a half, and maybe 1 full practice, if that. So I think we're still that same Dallas defense and same Dallas team that we saw week 1 and week 2.
So so you're like me, right? You're saying like I learned that we're still a pretty incredible football team. Yeah.
And what I know I've learned for certain is that, and rest assured, Cowboys Nation, other people are feeling your pain, the goal line will be moved every single game if we win. If we win, the team wasn't that good, their coach sucks, the quarterback sucks, somebody sucks, everybody else sucks except for the Cowboys being good. The Cowboys will never be good. The Cowboys will always be beating bad teams. Even though we stomped teams that gave Jalen Hurts and even the Niners a run for their money. So,
just real quick, if you guys don't mind, just really fast, just looking at the Patriots season thus far, they lose by 5 to the Eagles. We all saw that first game. I remember we ended up watching that second half together, wherever we were. But yeah, the Eagles kind of luck out in that one. The Eagles will do that. The Dolphins, who is 2 weeks off of hanging 70 on somebody, New England gave them a run for their money, 24-17 loss. They go and beat the Jets, who on Sunday Night Football, which is last night against Kansas City, played a heck of a game. Turns out Zach Wilson can play. The defense is still very good. The defense showed out in their game against the Patriots. But the Patriots did squeak by 15-10, and then of course, just an unmerciful beatdown.
Yeah, I mean, just to piggyback off that, and then Jacob, I'll let you lose, Jacob. But the Eagles are supposed to be better than we are. They barely beat them by 5. The Dolphins are supposed to be the best team in the NFL because they won 70-20, which is awesome. But it's the Broncos. Again, I'll move the goalpost for y'all if you guys want to move it for us. It's the Broncos, but you guys beat them 24-17, all touchdown or less, and then they beat the Jets 15-10, and we annihilated them and the Jets. So if you want to move the goalpost, move it for the Eagles because they barely scraped by, and we destroyed them. They put 20 points on y'all. Dolphins, you put 17. You only put 24 with that high-powered offense. So, So, Jacob, anything?
No, yeah. I mean, I can see what you guys are saying in the sense of we didn't learn too much, because what we're seeing is consistent with what we saw in game 1 and game 2. So I understand that. But from my perspective, I feel like I did learn some things, because from game 2, we lost Trayvon, which is a major piece of our defense. And as you guys know, I was skeptical. What's this defense going to look? I don't know if this defense is ever going to be anything close to what it was. If we're ever going to see those just like they couldn't even get in the red zone performances without a guy like Trayvon, because I felt that he was so pivotal to the defensive scheme, and he was. And then when we come out to Arizona the very next game, and that happens, to me it kind of just reinforced that fear that I had, right? But to see us go out there, to see Bland have the game that he did, and to see Dan Quinn's scheme, the way he adjusted to what happened in the Cardinals game, the way that we held, the way that he just utterly just shut down their run game after the whole media couldn't stop talking about the Cowboys' run defense for the entire week after the Arizona game. To me, I guess we didn't learn anything in a sense of we knew Dan Quinn can adjust. We knew he's just a monster. But to see him adjust without a key piece like Diggs, this is something we haven't seen our defense play this well without a key person like Diggs in there. So I learned a lot about our defense and Bland and our young guys' ability to step up.
Step up, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
did. And I think, we also, I think, learned something in a sense that 2 weeks in a or not 2 weeks in a row, but 2 times this season, we've gone against, the Mike McCarthy play calling has been criticized and questioned, and it was a big thing coming into this season. But we just went up against one of the best coaches of all time. A team that, if you remember, the last time we played them, we went into overtime because our offense, it was
So CD wave goodbye.
Yeah, it was hard for us to get things together against Bill Belichick because of just how dominant and how smart he is as a defensive mind. But we went out there and had what I learned is it doesn't just have to be a Giants or a depleted or bad defense for us to move the ball down the field. I learned that Dak, with Mike McCarthy calling plays, can move the ball against a premier defense in the Jets and a premier coach in Bill Belichick. Now, I'm kind of with Steven. Did we still see some problems in the red zone? Sure. But I'm still not worried. I'm concerned, not worried, because I do think that, it's literally like Schoonmaker makes a catch. That's a touchdown in the red zone. If Dak and Pollard are on the same page, we have a clear touchdown. I think it's as simple as cleaning up a couple things, and it's fine. So I'm not. What I'm most concerned about, what I was most concerned about with the offense coming into this year, is are we going to see those games where we just cannot get a first down to save our life, and we're not seeing that. And we're not seeing that.
That's what we used to see.
Exactly. We're not seeing that against even the best coaches, the best defenses, the best defensive minds in the league.
Yeah, we walk down the field. Can I ask
done
you?
that multiple
times.
times.
And I will say one more thing. What we learned even more, in my opinion, was because after the Arizona Cardinals game, there was that big question. Are the Cowboys going to be the same without Trayvon Diggs? Are the Cowboys exposed? Like, did people figure out the formula to beating the Cowboys? And the first 2 games, were the first 2 games a fluke, or was Arizona the fluke? Mm-hmm. We didn't know that. And I think that the Patriots game was a good test against a good coach to give us that answer. And the fact that we literally respond by having a record-setting dominance of the Patriots, I think that, to me, I learned the Cardinals game was the fluke. The game 1, game 2, and game 4 are who we really are. Yeah. And so I was really excited after seeing that game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Definitely the Cardinals game was the fluke. And as you kind of relax off that Cardinals game, which games like yesterday will help you do, you kind of take a look at that week and you look at, I really do think we were seeing, especially in that Cardinals first half, and I don't want to, recap that game or whatever, but I really do think what we were witnessing, without really knowing for sure, was, man, these guys lost a brother, 48 hours before this happens. Then they have to go get on a plane, get on the road, go out to the desert.
Yeah.
A game that everybody's telling them they can win in their sleep. And it just, I really think we witnessed them just, they were there, but they weren't there, you know. We've seen how close this team is, you know, especially the integral parts of it. Micah Parsons shows up in Trayvon Diggs T-shirts, you know.
Yeah.
You know, Dak and Trayvon with the yak in a training camp that gets all the media attention, but that's big brother and little brother play out there. You know, this team, you know, we've seen it. Those of us that followed the team closely, we've seen that. You know, that was them losing. You know, I don't want to be all weird about it. You know, they lost a piece of their heart, and then they had to go jump on a plane and go play a game. And I don't think any of them were there for that. So I think you're right, Jacob, that weeks 1, 2, and 4, you know, that's who the Cowboys are. Line up anybody in front of us, especially line up anybody in front of that defense, and it's hell to pay. So I do agree with that. I also, you know, just not to get hung up on the red zone thing. I think both of you guys are saying that. You know, not terrified of that situation. But it's, you know, as you're naming those off just now, Jake, you were naming off like, you know, if it wasn't for the Schoonmaker drop, if it wasn't for the miscommunication between Pollard and Dak, and then, you know, backtracking to Arizona, if none of those happen in the red zone, we accidentally win. You know, it's a mixture of things, I think, which is the good news is it's a mixture of things that keep happening down there. The Jets game, it was a bunch of false starts. You know, the Giants game's a little bit of a pass because it's like you just didn't have to score in that game, even though we did over and over and over. But, you know, the good news about the red zone is again, it's not this one thing that we have issues with. It's not the offensive line gets down there and keeps jumping. It's not Dak is buckling down there, and it's not that the running game doesn't work, because we even saw yesterday that the third string running back can score in the red zone. So that's the good news. The bad news is that we're 4 weeks in, and whatever these reasons are, these accumulations of reasons, they keep happening. All right. And unfortunately, we're about to face a team where we're going to have to go down there and score. Yeah. And, you know,
good transition.
As we right, and hey, let's use that to segment away. As we move away from the systematic, absolute destruction of the New England Patriots, like that was, you know, we'll say a prayer for them. Looking ahead, man, this is the premier game of the NFC. It's so funny because maybe before Rodgers got hurt, it was the AFC. You know, the Cowboys Jets game was being billed early in the year in the offseason, late in the offseason, as this could be a Super Bowl preview. You know, God help them if they find their way to the Super Bowl. So it ended up not being that. But now here we are to one that's being billed, the two heavyweights of the NFC. Shout out Eagles. But the two heavyweights of the NFC, and rightfully so. I think anybody in their right mind would say these are the two heavyweights, and these the team in green is kind of on the outskirts of that, even though they sit 4-0 at the top of the division.
Yeah, you guys have just scraped by the hairs of your chinny chin.
Yeah, and their reckoning's coming. They're about to be reminded who they are.
You guys might go 9-8, to be honest. I mean, you could lose like 8 games back to back once you guys lose to Washington. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and they got to play us twice, losing to Dak. That's a Philly thing.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, go ahead, Ed. Let's jump in. I mean, this weekend, all right, this is going to be huge on telling us who we are. I'm of the belief, if you're Dallas, you don't just have to win this game. This isn't just. I know us as fans is like we're tired of this. And this is the team that can finally just get past these guys. But I also am of the strong belief that it's not on the schedule, but I think we're playing San Francisco twice this year, and the next one's going to matter the most. But I do look forward to see how we're going to compare here, and I do look forward to see how our defense is going to play against them.
Now, but what does your heart say? Both of y'all. What does y'all's heart say?
Yeah,
we go to San Francisco next week. What does your heart say? Does your heart say, "Oh man, we just never beat the Niners. I don't know if we can do it," or does it say, "You know what? The fact that we have not beat the Niners these last 2 years when it mattered most, we're going to go in there, we're going to play a complete game, and we're going to kick their tail."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what does my heart say? So my heart says I'm a Cowboys fan for many, 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 many years. Anytime we get one of these regular season billings, like I'll go back to, I think it was 2007 or something, us versus the Patriots. This is a Super Bowl preview. Romo T.O. versus, I think it was like Brady, Randy Moss type stuff. For whatever reason, we just never perform in those games. Not like you would like. But so my heart tells me, after watching weeks 1, 2, and 4 this year, that we're going to be in this game, but we're going to be in this game. Mm-hmm. My heart keeps telling me this is not the one you win, and that's really frustrating. After probably to you, after you watch a game like yesterday, and you say, why would you possibly think that? And there's a series of things, and we can point to individual players and everything as to why I'm nervous about this game. We can talk about the red zone all day long for the rest of our lives, like the national media is going to do. So, Dan Quinn can beat this guy, right?
Yeah.
This Shanahan guy. Yeah.
There's really only one guy,
but he just right, but it just keeps not happening for us offensively. And had we looked better offensively this week, and I know Dak was sharp. I know he spread the ball out. I know everybody got a piece. But when it came down to, this is something I've talked about many times, and I'm not going to harp on it. But when it comes down to just freaking do it, it just kind of doesn't happen for us. So on the Dak Prescott situation, like, just put the hammer down and be the best guy on the field right now.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, he never kind of crosses that line. Now, he'll stat you to death, and I'm a Dak apologist and a Dak lover, and I'll defend Dak till the day I die. This red zone situation is a cosmocosm of Dak and his career. It's like, just shut everyone up now. Be great. Shut them up. Punch it in. Take over. We don't really get that. So
I think that you're seeing it in a different light, though, is my thing. Like, you're seeing Dak taking over in a different light. You're seeing Dak shut up the haters and shut up the doubters in a different light. You're seeing that in no turnovers, no picks, pretty much perfect gameplay every single game.
Fair enough.
It's just the only part that whatever it is. I was talking to you guys about this earlier, is last year and the year before last, my mind going from defense to offense was, gosh, what's Kellen Moore going to do, man? What play calling are we going to get? And we're going to go 3 and out, and we're going to have to send our defense back out there. And I felt like I have like a good realization of this when I talk about why our run defense was so bad last season, was because when you are going 3 and out constantly and your defense is getting back out on the field, the other team has a chance to run more.
Fair,
and that runs your defense down, and then your offense has to play from behind. Well, now we're playing it in a sense of, let's destroy a team how we are getting destroyed and demoralize and let Dak be the general of the field and just tear this defense to shreds and keep them out there for 8 minutes, 7-minute drive.
You forgot we had an offense at times.
And then you forget that you have an offense, and then you get ahead. That's our point. It's not that can the Cowboys? No, we're like I've heard people talk about, can the Cowboys win a game when the team is running all on them and holding onto the ball and keeping their defense out there? No, because we do that now. Our offense is different now. We play a not of run explosive play, run explosive play. We play medium play here, medium play there, run play here, short pass there, screen play there. It's so much tiresome. It's tiresome play for the defense that when our defense gets out there, we can shut down their run and give them a 3-and-out.
Yeah, and I love that. I love us playing that way. I love that Brandon Cooks is out there going like, "You guys know that I play here." Yeah. Like I appreciate that play style. I think what I'm talking about is a very small piece of what this offense is, and it requires Dak to just simply. It has nothing to do with Mike. It's never had anything to do with Mike, and it has nothing to do with blunders between Pollard and Dak, and it has nothing to do with it. What it has to do with is this kind of gear, this kind of I want it more type thing that a lot of quarterbacks have, and I believe that Dak possesses this gene as well. We just, for whatever reason, we just hadn't seen it, and I think the red zone is is the best opportunity for a quarterback to showcase this gene. And we just haven't done it. However, I do accept and I do appreciate you pointing out to me, hey, we are seeing top of the line Dak. We are seeing the no turnover Dak. We are seeing the just piecing you apart and there's nothing you can do about it, Dak Prescott. And you are right. We may not be seeing it in these electrifying moments that put us in awe, but we are seeing it snap after snap, and I appreciate that.
Jacob, give what you think about, what does your heart say about this game?
Yeah, so my heart says, I know what we are at this. I think 4 games into the season, when I look at where we are, I know who, like I said, I know who we are. We are as good as anybody in the league, if not the best. I also know when we talk about the big 3, like all the media outlets want to talk about us, the Eagles, the Cowboys. What we've seen from the Eagles is they're not quite where they would like to be. They're not quite in that top area.
They're a Patriots level team.
So I would say slightly better, but
let me tell you, if you're on a national show and you're sitting around you're trying to come up with content on how to convince people that the freaking Philadelphia Eagles are still this team from last year and maybe even better. You have the hardest job in America, and kudos to you.
They're struggling, and everybody knows it, and we've learned that after 4 weeks. But what we've also learned, we've learned that we are, like I said, one of the best teams, if not the best in the league. But we've also learned who the 49ers are. And I think from what I've seen, I think that they're the only team that has shown to be in our league so far this season. Out of maybe the Bills have looked really good, so maybe them, but in the NFC, and I think this truly, I personally, with how good they have looked, I don't see how this can be a just dominant performance like we saw versus like the Patriots or the Jets or anything like that, because of how good they have looked. And also, I think that neither one of us has played a team even close to as talented as the other team is, right? Yeah. They haven't played a defense even close to ours. We haven't played a defense close to theirs. Well, I don't know. The Jets' defense is pretty good. But we haven't played an offense.
Yeah, but
that's even close.
Just to your point, they haven't played a defense as good as ours, but they haven't. They haven't played an offense as good as ours. They've played the Steelers, the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Rams. The only good quarterback duo, wide receiver duo that they've played is Puka Nacua, who's a rookie. Yeah. And Matthew Stafford.
But I'm just saying, the way I see it is, we've seen us play 4 average teams, and with the exception of one fluke game, dominate. We've seen them play 4 around average teams and dominate, right? And so now we're coming in against a team.
I will say
for the Rams.
I will say they've played. Let's say this: they've played 2 average teams and 2 pretty bad teams.
Yeah. So maybe you give us the advantage on, maybe we have played some harder teams and done better, but I'm just saying I don't see like a huge talent gap between us. I think that maybe we're slightly better, but I think that they're pretty close. And so for that, I do think it's going to be close. But
agreed.
I do think, and I know we're not getting to predictions right now, I think we might see some different things, and I'll talk about this when I get to my prediction. But what my heart tells me, especially if I look at previous years, is that this is two of the best teams in the league coming together. I think it's going to be an all-out battle to the end. I could see it being low scoring. I mean, both times we've played them, it's been low scoring. And so I could see this being a low scoring game and a battle to the end, and I'll get to my prediction later. That's what my heart tells me.
Yeah, no, I want to just say that I agree with that. Man, as a Cowboys fan and someone who's been a Cowboys fan for a long time, it's been a long time since like, hey, this is clearly the premier game in the NFL. The NFL world feels like they're going to learn something from this game, outside of the lyrics to "Cruel Summer." So, like, the NFL as a whole is sitting on the edge of their seats, saying it's finally Cowboys Niners. We're finally going to learn who the best team in the NFC is, even though we have to continue the narrative that Jalen Hurts is great and the Philadelphia Eagles are great because that's what we get paid to do, but. And no matter what happens, if we do go out there and dominate, they'll tell us why. Yeah, but you still got the Eagles. Like they'll downplay, they'll move the goalpost, if you will. But I'll just finish this thought.
Yeah.
I'm just excited that the Cowboys are back to the caliber of play, and the dominating caliber of play to where. We're in that conversation of like these two teams right here. We're going to find out a lot about how the NFL itself is going to play out because these two guys are playing. So I'm just excited that we're on that level.
Well, I'll start off with my predictions because we've already kind of talked about it.
Yeah,
and then I'll critique y'all's and why
sure.
I think that
we're idiots.
Why I think you guys are, because Steven already predicts that we're going to lose. So. I think he said that we could lose, and in my opinion, here's my thing:
we could lose. Yeah,
my breakdown is this: can we come out and just get stunned like we had, last year? I remember going into the game in the divisional round, and I thought, oh, we're going to win because last season we lost, and they got Brock Purdy now, and he's not, he's a rookie, he's only played a few games, and we're going to stun them with our defense. And we were stunned because
undefeated in the regular season, Brock Purdy.
Yeah, we were stunned. We were stunned by them in the playoffs. And I have my own theories, which I'm going to talk about in a second. And it's also a transition onto why I think we will win. Let me tell you why. Even how stupid some of the sports analysts are who talk about the Cowboys and why we're going to lose to the Niners, they will say. If you remember, the reason why we'll lose to the Niners is because Dak loves to turn over the ball. Why did we lose the Niners game? Because Dak turns over the ball. What is Dak not doing in these dominating performances against not bad defenses? These are top 10 defenses in the NFL. And, now we're going to play the Niners, so it's not like we're going from playing, defenses that are just terrible, like maybe the Vikings or actually, the Vikings defense are playing fine.
Actually, let me help your case. The answer is he's not turning the ball over, and then to further that point, he's not even throwing in completions.
Yeah, no, he's not making mistakes. So, again, it's not like he's playing bad defenses. Let's not move the goalpost on these teams. These teams are putting up are average teams, but the only reason they're average is because of their offenses. They're really good defensively, and they are able to I was honestly fully ready to see a closer game than what I saw yesterday because of what happened against the Cardinals, but because Belichick and even Robert Saleh and even Dayball, they keep games close no matter who you're playing.
Great defensive minds.
Great defenses, but we are better than them, and we're the best team in the NFL, and we're so dominant as a team that we can do those things, and you can't. So when it comes to playing the Niners this week, my prediction is that we'll win by at least 10 points or more. okay? And I'll explain why. Because what I saw, you can talk about how great Christian McCaffrey is and how, their defense is not the staple of their team anymore. It is Christian McCaffrey is the staple of that team. Brock Purdy's not the staple. Deebo Samuel's in the pastime. Brandon Ayuk is only showing flashes because Christian McCaffrey's playing so well and the passing game has opened up. Like, their defense is pretty much like Fred Warner in a bag of chips. Pretty much.
Now he's exceptional, and it's kind of, I mean, look, Bosa. What can be said about him is like, first of all, he never gets home, and I'm not going to take this time to talk about this guy because he's really kind of not really worth talking about. But he never gets home.
Burrowed it.
Yeah, he never. Yeah, he's like
got the money and dipped.
Yeah, he's like the defensive Joe Burrow. But like, he never gets home. I think he got a sack like 2 weeks ago for the first time in like 8 games. So like, he never gets in. All the quarterback has to do is roll out the opposite way. He's not a disruptor, and everybody says he is. He just hasn't proven to be that.
And here's my thing. So just to get back on, I agree. But just to get back on track to what I was saying.
Fred Warner, shout out, you're fine.
And Fred Warner's great. And Hufanga can show up, and make these weird. It's almost like Fred Warner will always tip the ball up that's getting passed to a tight end, true. And somehow Hufanga's back there to catch the tip ball, and now they're both incredible. But it seems like it happens like every play, but it doesn't, and it won't. So, if you're asking me, that the reason why we lost last season was not because our defense couldn't shut down their offense, because their offense wasn't the staple of their team last season, but you had all the same parts. You had the same O-line, you had the same running back, and you had the same wide receivers, and you had the same tight end. But, as great as Christian McCaffrey was last season even, and is this season, completely a zero factor. Mm-hmm. So what have we not seen from against the Niners? You have not seen some team take away him from the equation. Okay, but it was a double-edged sword, because not only did we last season did we take Christian, because it's not like you can't say, oh, they can't do it. I've seen it happen, and it's not only just in a divisional in a regular season game. It was a high stakes game. If you want to talk about Dak disappearing in a high stakes game, Christian McCaffrey freaking.
They
call Dan Quinn Houdini then. Okay, so he'll make you disappear.
They put that game on Kittle. They put that game downfield. Yeah, McCaffrey was a non-factor.
Which it shouldn't have been. And you see what happened to their offense is quite like what happened with the Jets. They got a couple of lucky plays. Deep balls to Kittle.
He bobbled.
Yeah, well, he bobbles it and barely gets a hold of it.
Sure.
And then they can score 19 points, which is not a lot of points. No. Now, what else did you see? Our offense played terribly. And why is that? Because we played them like how we played every other team, not like how Mike McCarthy is calling plays now. With Kellen Moore, it's run, pass, and what you saw was a lot of 3 and outs. So now with a weaker defense that isn't the staple of their team now, that isn't that bruiser defense that we've seen in last year and in seasons past from them, and a general that doesn't turn over the ball anymore, and a person who will just sit there and carve up, Hufanga all day long, because in all reality, what has CeeDee Lamb just put to? CeeDee Lamb has put it to one of the best secondaries in the league in the Jets. And freaking Christian Gonzalez, like it wasn't even like the dude was there, like Dak was throwing it on him all day long until he got hurt and everything like that. So, in my opinion, I think with the lack of look at the Rams game. The Niners had a struggle with the Rams. They barely beat the Rams. And why is that? Because they had a good wide receiver with a quarterback who can throw under pressure and throw on. If you have a bad secondary, they'll carve you up. And what do the Niners have? They have a bad secondary. That is their weak point. So you're telling me that I've seen it already happen where we can lock down Christian McCaffrey. I've seen Dan Quinn lock down Kyle Shanahan. What I want people to start to realize is that the other staple, your staple is your run game and your D-line. Boy, if our O-line is healthy, we have the top-rated guard duo in the league. We have a Pro Bowl caliber center. We have a pretty solid right tackle and a future Hall of Fame left tackle. So if everybody's healthy, Javon Hargrave's going to piece up Tyler Smith. He's gonna piece up Zach Martin, Tyler Biotish. Who's piecing up Tyron Smith? Because I really want to know. Your best bet is to go against Terrence Steele with Bosa, but even then we've seen that. And again, Bosa, not a factor. What I have seen, though, is your run game disappear and our D-line all over Brock Purdy. So that's why, to me, and in my opinion, all the talks have been in the favor of the Niners and how great they are and how they're going to beat us. There's nobody saying the Cowboys are going to win, and we still feel that sting. You guys don't have that sting. You know, that's my point. Is like, and obviously you guys can hop in whenever because I'm kind of talking a lot, but they didn't feel the sting of losing in the divisional round and in the wild card round 2 years in a row in the playoffs. We have that sting. We have that chip on our shoulder. So not only are we coming in with that, and you heard what Dak said in that interview about how it hurts and he appreciates that because we're going to use that, but boy, you know Micah wants to win bad. We want to win, and we want to win bad. And if we can play normally and not adjust like Kellen Moore, we could blow them out. I genuinely think that, because if we take away, which I've seen it and I know we can, take away Christian McCaffrey, what do they have? They have nothing.
Yeah. I think Christian McCaffrey, for me, remains still the biggest threat. Like you just said, the offense is pretty much running through him at this point. Not really downfield to Kittle anymore. Not really, I mean, when you have a weapon like McCaffrey, he can catch balls out of the backfield too. I think I want to say he scored a receiving touchdown yesterday. He scored over and over yesterday against Arizona, like a lot of teams will this year. So yeah, you didn't learn anything new about McCaffrey yesterday. They pieced up a team they should have. We should have. We're past that. But Cowboys can't stop the run. That's always the narrative, right? I mean, this is a guy that plays way better at that position than anyone we're going to face. I respect him a lot. I think he's really good.
No, I get what you're saying. My point is that I have seen how good he was last season,
and then they didn't utilize him.
And I've seen him become Houdini in the biggest game of the playoffs.
Yeah,
2 games in a row.
So here, yeah, 2 games we lost. Say what you want to about those games.
I'm saying against the Eagles too.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, yeah. That game, come on, that game.
No, I know, but my point is that if this guy's a factor, if he's supposed to be incredible and a factor, then
why didn't he play quarterback in that NFC Championship game?
What I'm saying is that he isn't a factor to us because Dan Quinn. People just gloss over this, especially in the main sports analyst portion of the world, but Dan Quinn owns Kyle Shanahan. That doesn't mean that the Cowboys beat the Niners.
The matchup, sure.
But what else I know is DeMeco Ryans owns Kellen Moore. And what do we both not have anymore?
Right.
That's my point.
Yeah, fair enough. But it's for me, it's like this, man. It's like if there's no reason, and I'm talking about the last 2-year playoff games, right? If there's just no reason you shouldn't win, then just do it. Just freaking win.
And we're gonna.
And we haven't. And you guys know me. I believe in those bugaboos, right? Philly is never going to beat the Cowboys where Dak Prescott starts until they do. Show me you can do it, and then I'll believe it.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are never going to beat Rodgers until they do, right? And we didn't get our chance this year. I do believe we would have carved him up this year, and I know Dak won. He beat him up there his rookie season, 16. But other than that, he's just run through us in the playoffs and the regular season. And then this San Francisco thing has become a bit of a bugaboo. And here's what the most frustrating, the most hard to understand thing is both of those games, we should have won. We were better. We were better. It's one of those things where like you look at it at the end of it, you're like, so we lost. It was nothing that the Niners did that beat
us. It was Dak threw interceptions, and we could not get it going on offense. That beat us. It wasn't that they were sacking Dak all over the place. It wasn't that they shut down. They were piecing up our defense. We shut them down on offense, and they just shut us down even worse on.
The only thing we had to do from there was win.
Right.
So and we failed to do both times. So I respect this Christian McCaffrey guy. If you're telling me that because what we've seen in the past where he's a non-factor in this game, man, I find that hard to believe that they're not going to game plan for him.
No, I fully expect them to game plan.
Yeah, because our only weakness on defense, if we have one, is still the run. It is. Sorry. The guy that's supposed to shut down the run is still a rookie. He's still learning.
Played good, though.
He's great.
Real good.
He's great.
Hey,
he's good.
Go watch how good Mozzie played last time we played them. Oh, man, he was a big reason why
Mozzie?
Or not Mozzie.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hankins.
Hankins was a monster against the
unbelievable
Patriots.
versus the Patriots, but the 49ers too. But I just wanted to say,
who else played? I'll get right down to it. Yes, I do believe that there's a world where we lose this game, just like we've lost the last two to them. Very much so. Very much respect the 49ers. Very much respect Kyle Shanahan. I do think he'll try to throw some wrinkles at us that he's been tucking away for this one.
Yeah.
But so do I. So
is
Mike.
No doubt. No doubt.
Whenever Steven's on, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got some stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hey, let's wrap it up. I think we could win this game, and I'll leave it at this. All right. I won't even really make a prediction. I think this is one of those games. I think this is where two gladiators get in the ring, and I really do think this comes down to who has the ball last, like it has for 2 straight years. I know the 12-second, the run to the middle of the field and that whole weird thing, we may have had the ball last, but we literally ran out of time, right? I mean, and then, kind of last year too, I mean, I really think we're going to see very, very simulated games of those two games, a very simulated game of those two games. And I really think this comes down to a chess match between Kyle and Dan, which Dan, I'm with you. Dan can adjust on Kyle. I mean, hey, look,
that's what it's going to come down to. We're going to destroy them.
Nobody knows him like Dan Quinn. No one knows Kyle Shanahan like Dan Quinn. They were together for a long time, and no one knows him like him. He can shut him down, and I think that's our key to win. I do think it's kind of whoever. I really can see this being like 17-17 in the fourth quarter, right? And it comes down to who, what's kind of got us in I think it comes down to not Dan Quinn. I think it comes down to Mike and Kyle and how they operate their 2-minute offenses at the end, and are I think it could be Dak throwing for a win. So I'll say this. Whoever wins this game wins by like 3 or 6 or something like that, and I'll leave it at that.
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, so I mean, I think there's a lot that goes into this game. I think a lot of things. First, like I said, this is a heavyweight, 2 heavyweights in the league matchup, but I think the narrative is reversed. I think that we so far have shown that we are better than they are. I think that we have won more impressively. We have just been more dominant. Dak has played better than Purdy. I get it. Purdy has a lot of playmakers, and they do a lot of cool things. But Dak has been lights out this year. Our defense has been better than theirs has. We should be it should be flipped. I'm not saying it should be like we're the 10-point favorites, but we should, in my opinion, we should be the 3.5-point favorites, and not them. That's the first one. The second one, when I think about this game, I'm kind of in the middle. I don't think it's going to be like a huge blowout, but I do think we're going to win this game, and it's for a couple reasons. The first one, like Ethan's kind of been alluding to, Dan Quinn has kept them and their explosive offense in check twice in a row. I have no reason to believe he's not going to do it again. In my opinion, even without Trayvon Diggs, because of all the pieces that we have this year that we didn't have last year, I think this is a slightly better defense than we had at the end of last season, because of all the injuries that we had. So I think that I have no reason to believe that Dan Quinn isn't going to come out with a slightly better defense against a pretty much the exact same offense and do exactly what he has done, which is hold them to basically nothing. I mean, last game they scored 19 and they had the ball the entire game because our offense couldn't do anything. The second reason I think we're going to win is because the reason we lost last year was because of our offense. And our offense this year is not the offense of last year. Our offense this year is night and day different. Last year, who did we have as a playmaker? We had CeeDee Lamb and Tony Pollard, and Tony Pollard goes down in the first quarter of the game?
Yeah.
And from then on, when we had Tony Pollard, we were moving the ball down the field. From then on, it was over. We could not adjust. This year, we have CeeDee Lamb. We have a fully recovered Michael Gallup, who's already in the past 2 games been going off. We have Brandon Cooks, which I'm going to get to him in a minute. And we have Pollard back. Ferguson has been showing out. And not only that, look at the O-line that we had the last time we played the 49ers, and look at the O-line we have now. When we played the 49ers, we had Terrence Steele out for the year. We had Tyron Smith out of position, and we had McGovern in there, and we had Tyler Smith out of position. So we had like 4 of our 5 starters, right, or 3 out of our 5 out of position, right? This year, hopefully, we're probably going to have a fully healthy offensive line. So, and not only that,
hopefully,
but we have
it's week to week.
But yeah, this might be the one game we have everybody together. So, I'm hoping. But not only that, so it's like, okay, what I'm trying to say is
Tyron will play and Zach won't.
What I'm trying to say is our weapons look completely different this year. Just can't. Our O-line looks completely different this time around. And our play calling looks completely different this time around, okay? So we already know what we're probably going to see between Dan and Kyle Shanahan with that offense, because really it's pretty much the same as it was last time. But this is a completely the weakness of our team was our offensive coordinator and our offensive overall. Our team was beat up at the end of the season, and we were going up against D'Amico Ryans, and that's not the case this year.
Yeah.
They lost their strength, we lost our weakness, and we've added in terms of, number one, being healthy to the offensive line, and we've added weapons that we didn't have last year. So I personally think that we're going to win this game. Is it going to be? I do think it's going to be tough, just because they are a tough team. I think their scheme and everything is still good. I think they have a good coach. He's going to manage the game well. But I do think we could win I think we're going to win by at least 6. I'm going to go with that. And yeah, so I think, and not only that, because I think another reason is because these dudes want this one.
Yeah,
they have been thinking about this one for so long. Mike thinks about you. These guys
it's
are treating
the
this
opposite of what happened in the Cardinals game. It's not we're going to win this.
Of that.
We're going to win this, so no preparation. No, we're going to prep. We're going to be ready. Let's go.
Mike views this. He views this, and the team views this as a playoff game. And so I think we're going to give it our best shot. One thing that I'm going to say to look out for, my prediction, look out for Brandon Cooks in this game, because one thing that I have noticed is, and Ethan could probably attest to this, when we looked in training camp, Brandon Cooks was getting the ball a lot more than he's been getting the ball this season. And he's not just these little short out routes that he's getting. I'm talking down the field. And so be on the lookout this game for some explosive plays from Brandon Cooks.
Man, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Because I think Mike might have been keeping some of those in his sleeve.
We were, because we're blowing people out, and we're not going to waste it even if we're losing on the Cardinals.
Yeah, I want to see like the T.Y. Hilton Houston. I want to see one of those from Brandon Cooks.
Eagles catch.
Eagles catch. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Christmas Eve.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, shout out Eagles. But man, that's who Brandon Cooks is. And just speaking about Brandon Cooks real quick, like he broke down the huddle in the locker room yesterday after the game. I don't know if y'all caught that, but not that he was here last year or anything, but he did. He's very aware, right? Everyone's been made aware that wasn't around during those 2 games against San Francisco. And, Brandon Cooks comes into the huddle, hey, everybody up. And he says something to the effect of, hey, great win, whatever. The it's about this week. Let's have a great week. Let's have a good week of practice. Make every snap count at practice. And he says, he goes,
don't have anybody get injured.
Well, he's like, he was like, stay focused on every snap this week in practice. And he's like, y'all know what it is,
Yep.
And he broke the team down or whatever. But it's clear.
Hey.
It's clear. And then
They're ready.
after Dak's press conference after the New England game, it's clear these guys want this back.
And we kind of talked about it. We were like, Dak's supposed to. You could see immediately that struck a nerve on Dak.
Yeah, he's out there doing starting franchise quarterback
because he did one of these things.
He
did one of these. He was like, that person's good, day in and day out, hardworking guy. Like every person, Anybody, hey, what do you think about Mike McCarthy? Day in, day out, shows up, hardest working guy out there. What do you think about the guy that works at McDonald's down the street? Great guy, day in, day out, hardworking. Clock in, last person to clock
Jerry's
out.
over there going, yeah, he's great. Yeah.
No, but he was doing that whole thing, and then the guy asks that stupid question, and he's like, kind of like,
you're trying to piss me off. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, but hey, he got him early, and now it's more time to be pissed off and be thinking about this. But just to, because I don't, that's all I really had. So
give your score predictions, and then we'll head out.
Yeah, I mean, I already did, but I'll what I'll do is I'll wrap up by saying this: do not, Cowboys fans, I'm talking to y'all. We're gonna beat them, and when we beat them, it's not gonna be that's it. Cowboys are the best team in the NFC. No, you're still going to see Stephen A. and Shannon and those kind of guys.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
The biggest idiot on TV.
Hadn't played the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, Richard Sherman. That dude's a moron. You're going to hear these people say, I thought you guys were supposed to beat the Niners. It's Brock Purdy. He's the less, somehow now Brock Purdy's going to suck, and he's always supposed to have sucked because he was the last pick in the draft.
Stephen A. is going to say, this ain't the game we've been waiting on.
Yeah,
we've been waiting
now
on
it's
the
going to be
Philadelphia
Philly,
game.
and they're going to do the whole thing again, and they're going to say, well, I thought you guys were supposed to beat them. You should have beaten them by more. They have all this stuff. Somehow we're still not going to be we're still not going to get what we want to hear. But hey, rest assured, if we beat this team, we're the best team in the NFL, and I think we will. So that's all I had. That's all we had, guys. We hope you tune in to our Instagram and tune into the rest of the episodes on this channel. They're great. I hope you guys follow our Instagram, and I'm hoping to see some more subscribing and some more comments and some more likes and some more views on these episodes. So make sure you're tuning in. This was all just food for thought. We hope you enjoyed it. You can base your opinions on what, I'm kind of extreme. Steven's a little bit more conservative, I feel like, and Jacob's kind of in between.
I'm beaten.
Yeah. But
I've
hey,
been around a lot longer than y'all.
Don't let anybody fool you, man. Stick with the culture, ride with the culture. We're setting the tone for the season. We them boys, baby. Even though I never say that because I hate when people say that. But we're a beast. But we'll see y'all later. Peace.
Yeah, shout out Mac Jones. Roll Tide.
Peace.